Now I would like to invite His Excellency Mr. Zohrab Mnatsakanyan, Permanent Representative of Armenia to the United Nations, to deliver his remarks.
Mr. President, Mr. Deputy Secretary General, Special Advisor Dieng, Excellencies, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is with profound honor that Armenia joins efforts with the President of the General Assembly and the Joint Office on Genocide Prevention and Responsibility to Protect to initiate in the United Nations the first ever observance of the International Day for the Commemoration and Dignity of the victims of the crime of genocide and of the prevention of this crime. This is a solemn event to commemorate and pay tribute to millions who have fallen victim of the crime of genocide. The victims are gone forever. Their lives have been shattered in acts of massive, premeditated, and targeted extermination, hatred, and brutality. However, we're duty-bound to sustain the flames of their dignity. This day calls for a collective duty to make the voices of the victims resonate, evoke images, memories, and emotions amongst the living, lest we fail or falter in our collective responsibility to confront the perpetrators. This day calls for admittance of past inaction and for reclaiming justice. On 11 September, the United Nations General Assembly unanimously adopted Resolution 69323, proclaiming 9th December as the International Day. This resolution followed up on another one adopted by the Human Rights Council earlier in March. Armenia is grateful to the member states and particularly to the 84 co-sponsors for their unwavering support. Equally, we recognize and commend the resolute efforts of the civil society, the media, and academia, who have been indispensable in raising awareness and knowledge of the Convention, who have been at the forefront of detecting deteriorating situations, setting alarms, confronting impunity, demanding justice, as much as enriching the analysis and expertise in prevention. And I'm most delighted to see many of our partners present today. Within the United Nations since 1998, Armenia consistently promoted and supported the international efforts to underpin the significance of the 1948 Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, as well as to consistently and resolutely construct solid foundations for prevention. This April, Armenia hosted a global forum against the crime of genocide, attended by about 600 political, public, religious, academic, civil society, and media representatives for over 50 countries. And we intend to sustain this platform for a continued effort to prevent genocide. 9th December was deliberately chosen as an International Day of Observance to coincide with the date of the adoption of the 1948 Convention. That 9th December will mark not merely the adoption of a landmark international legal instrument, but will also commemorate the victims of this crime and their dignity, is a powerful message to ignite political, legal, and moral responsibility for defying and ultimately halting the repetitive nature of this crime. It underlines the moral and political imperative to consistently elaborate a rigid national and international system of prevention. The international community and the UN system in particular have over the past decades invested considerably in elaborating specific mechanisms for prevention. As we are gathered in the United Nations, today is also an occasion to reiterate our solid support to the Secretary General and to the Joint Office on Genocide Prevention and the Responsibility to Protect, to pay respect to you, Mr. Dieng, as well as to your predecessors, Mr. Francis Deng and Mr. Juan Mendez. Today, we should recognize and honor the efforts of many courageous and determined individuals, including in the UN field missions, who at formidable risk to their own safety acted to save lives and alert the international community during such troubling times. I also pay tribute to the late Mr. Benjamin Whitaker, who as early as in 1985, in a landmark report to the United Nations, incepted the idea of establishing an impartial and independent body concerned with preventing genocides. His recommendations have not materialized at the time. Less than 10 years later, the world witnessed a renewed surge of genocide. Therefore, today is also a shameful reminder that the international community cannot claim elimination of massive violations of human rights and detectable genocidal tendencies. Genocides perhaps do not occur every now and then. However, one act of a genocide is one too many. Genocides do not occur out of nowhere. There is enough evidence to claim that this crime is an ultimate culmination of a continued scheming and cultivation of discrimination and hatred against the vulnerable groups. Therefore, the concepts of early warning and early action remain a matter of a continued focus for the international community to build capacity upon. We should admit that if we're serious and watchful enough, in the present world, the situation reports from whichever sources, or daily news bulletins carry sufficient elements of such early warning signs. We must therefore learn to receive and analyze such news and reports, not just in the context of the politics of the day, but also see them through the prism of the Convention. Every pattern of discrimination, every violation of rights affecting vulnerable groups, every exclusionary ideology, every climate of impunity, every denial of genocide, every hate speech and incitement to violence are exactly compelling early warning signs which back early action. This is about fostering culture of prevention. Those who do not learn from history are condemned to repeat it. We are duty-bound to analyze the causation of past cases in order to prescribe remedies to prevent future genocides. I'm confident that 9th December will serve an important annual platform to develop our capacity to prevent. The presence of the distinguished panelists with significant expertise and knowledge in the subject matter is meant to serve the purpose. Your presence today, ladies and gentlemen, manifests the collective conscience of humanity. The ultimate tribute to the victims of the past genocides is the rigid system of prevention. We commemorate to prevent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Zohrab. I would like to thank the President of the General Assembly, Deputy Secretary General,